Welcome to our community. Susie Thomas with you this morning. Happy to welcome Janelle Lee from Strengthening Stark. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. Thank you. Janelle,
Yes.
what brought you to town?
Oh, wow. I now live in Stark County, have been here now for 2 years. It's been
Wow.
exactly 24 months. We moved here because of my husband's job. Ralph and I lived in Cincinnati. We both went to college there, lived there for 30 plus years, raised our family. And he had a great opportunity, Susie, to come to Stark County. So we decided to come, and it's been a wonderful experience. So we live downtown Canton, wanted to be downtown, walkable. Love urban communities. We were living downtown Cincinnati. And so, and I've had the pleasure of being on the Strengthening Stark team now for a little bit over a year. So it's just been a great experience all the way around.
People who live downtown love it.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
you have that fun experience of the
Yes.
Ernesto Hotel.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about
yes.
where you live.
So we are actually at the Bliss Tower, which is right next door to
Neat.
the Ernesto, and actually the buildings are connected. Steve Coons decided to take a risk, which I'm glad he did a couple years ago, and redevelop the Ernesto. I've learned so much about the historic nature of that building, the building that I live in, the Bliss Tower. You know, that brought to the city of Canton years ago, and how it sat vacant. And so I'm glad Steve and some other investors decided to revitalize that. Downtown is coming back. There's a lot of restaurants now, a lot of small businesses. It's happening. It's a great place to be, especially on First Fridays, and we hope that will be
Yes.
every Friday night. But
Yes.
it's just a great environment, and love being in the downtown area.
And as you say, walkable to all kinds of fun nightlife things, great restaurants.
Right. Music District, you have
Arts.
The arts, Arts and Stark are doing a phenomenal job with the programming they're doing. The Brewery District, you have the museums, the First Ladies Museum. So there's all types of attractions. Now there's a new hotel being built, and with the Centennial Plaza, which I can look out of my bedroom window
Yes.
and see the progress of that. So there's just a lot of exciting things happening in Stark County between Massillon, Alliance, and Canton. So it's just it's a great time for Stark County.
When they say that a rising tide lifts all boats.
That's right.
We really see that happening with Hall of Fame Village and Centennial Plaza and
Right.
so forth. So you did not live in Stark County prior to a couple of years ago. Now, 2 years later, you're sounding like the spokesperson for
Well,
Stark County.
I tell you, I am not the spokesperson, but I love the work that I'm doing.
Enthusiastic about it.
I love community. I love people. I've been in economic development now for about 16 years. I did that in Cincinnati. All types of things from community development, urban revitalization, working with our local county and state and federal folks to help revitalize communities. And so, again, it's been a pleasure, and I've had just an opportunity to be on the Strengthening Stark project, which is new, a little bit over 2 years now. And it's so much has happened in 2 years of the project. I've only been on the project about a year, 14 months or so, but so much is happening and good things. People are coming together. The community's coming together, and there was a great article a week ago or
Yes.
so in the paper regarding funding, so that's great. And things are just really coming together. It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time for economic development in our county.
And to live in this community. We're so fortunate to have people like yourselves who have come in. How do we attract young people? How do
right.
we hang on to the young people we've got? We've got 5 colleges in this area.
Well, let's say 8 regional. Okay?
that's right,
So we
regionally.
work with NeoMed. We work with
Yes.
the University of Akron. Okay,
Yes.
so those are not directly in Stark County, but they're our partners.
real close.
They're real close.
They're neighbors.
And Susie, we have an advisory college committee where all the presidents of these colleges sit on a committee. So we're in a conference room with them quarterly talking about how can we we bridge the gap? What can we do to keep our students here in our region and not, go off to other cities? And so that conversation is happening.
Because there's so many things about these great schools that bring people from all over the country
That's
to
right.
Stark County, but we
Right.
don't want them to hightail it out of here when
That's
they're done
right.
with those 4 years.
And so there's conversations on all levels regarding how do we keep our millennials here. And that is, making sure there's jobs, there's good jobs and better jobs and opportunity, fun things for young folk to do. And so, again, that conversation is happening throughout the county.
Strengthening Stark, take me to, even though you've been involved for a year, you probably know the history. It started a couple of years ago because they found out Stark County was older and
Smaller
poorer.
and poorer.
Yes.
That's right. So literally, Susie, a group of stakeholders were just sitting around having conversation about the county. These are business leaders, educators, residents, just concerned citizens talking about the situation, the economy. It's not good in Stark County. It's getting older, smaller, and poorer, and that's not good. We're not competing with other counties in Ohio, and it's not, businesses were leaving. There was just not a lot of opportunity from a personal perspective, a quality of life perspective, as well as businesses. And so that had to change. And so these Stark County leaders and community residents started having more and more conversation. A consultant was hired, and this lovely book was published at the end of 2017, the Strengthening Stark Report. And in that report, in that book, there were several recommendations on what needed to happen. For instance, Stark Economic Development Board should be, and was recommended to be the lead organization to help make connections as it relates to economic development with strategic partners like the chamber, the educators, business leaders. And so since then, a consultant was hired in 2018, Rashu Malahala, and he really set the platform for the Strengthening Stark program today. And then I was hired a year later. And so again, we're looking at resources. We're looking at business growth opportunities, talent development initiatives, quality place-making things. What can we do with roads? What can we do to make transportation better? Getting that SARTA bus to the major job hubs. So again, all the things that's going to make our county better. More opportunities to attract new businesses, retain the current businesses, as well as, making sure we keep our students here and they have a good quality of life.
One of the things, natural resources, we are loaded and we've got water.
That's right.
How is that good?
Water is good. And I tell you, we have a lot of partners in the Akron area, the Cleveland area. Having that water technology for companies that are interested in that will help make things and create things is a good resource, is a good natural resource for this area. Let me tell you, another good resource here in Stark County is food manufacturing.
Really?
Food manufacturing, any type of manufacturing. The new buzzword now is advanced manufacturing.
We need to be able to make things.
We need to make things. There's robots. There's and so a lot of conversation, a lot of initiatives around manufacturing. That is one of our major industry clusters here, along with IT, digital IT, food manufacturing, petrochemicals, oil and gas.
We got to
tap into what our natural resources are and how we can grow those clusters. And so, again, Ray Hexamer is kind of leading that venture through the Stark Economic Development Board and putting together roundtables, having discussions in all of those industry clusters.
When you're talking about roundtable discussions with different groups of people, what groups are we reaching out to?
So let me just give me an example. We've had roundtable discussions with food manufacturers. So we met where? RG Dreg. What a great place to meet and have these food manufacturers in a place where this technical school is teaching young kids about food prep, food manufacturing. These kids get internships, they get jobs. It's all about making the connection and having opportunity. And so, again, there's about 50, 60 professionals within the food manufacturing talking about how can they grow the cluster. Maybe it's bringing in vendors or suppliers to help those businesses grow. It's all about creating jobs at the end of the day. What we're planning for 2020 is advanced manufacturing, manufacturing day for high school students, for college students, bringing in these manufacturers, talking about how can we grow that cluster, working with Jobs Ohio, working with strategic partners like Magnet who are in manufacturing. So those are some of the things that we're doing within these clusters to grow.
What does this look like on the day-to-day? Are you contacting manufacturers from around the country saying, look at what Stark County has to offer you? Look at the price of our houses here.
The cost of living, all of that
can't be beat.
All of that goes into play when we're talking about attracting new businesses to this area, particularly within those industry clusters. You look at that quality of life, you look at schools, you look at access, you look at resources. And so it's here, and we're taking full advantage of that to really create a new shift here in Stark County.
Economics is part of it, but there also is that very intangible thing about what makes someplace a great place to raise a family.
That's right.
The arts.
That's right.
We have got that all over the place here. That
Rob
is just
Hankins
awesome.
is doing a phenomenal job
You could
with
go to a
the
lot,
programming.
Yes, you could go to bigger cities and not have a ballet and a professional theater and
The symphony,
orchestra.
all of that right here in this area.
Amazing.
Right.
And our museums.
That's
plus
right.
the art district with all the cool little mini museums
That's right.
that are around.
That's right.
So I just, having been born and bred here, I can't imagine living anywhere else.
That's right.
But my own children moved away.
That's right.
So
We got to get them back. We got to get them back.
We got to get them back here.
That's right.
What kinds of things then do we say to young people? What do we say to organizations and advanced manufacturing companies that this is where you want to be?
That's right. And like you said, it's tangible things. You want to see big, pretty things. It's about what can you see. And so part of that is revitalizing downtown. And so now with the Centennial Plaza coming on board, there's going to be activities, and the Hall of Fame will be making sure, along with the chamber, that there's fun things to do. So that's going to be attractive. They're looking at bringing more housing downtown, okay?
Nice.
And so instead of the Onesto and the Bliss, you do have the Hercules that's downtown, and they're looking at other opportunities for housing. So bringing people to do things, to live down there is going to create a buzz.
Hercules right now, half of it is awesome.
That's
the other
right.
half still looks like the old Hercules.
And that's coming online. And
Nice.
so they're talking about how to revitalize that. But it's all about what can the city provide that's going to provide opportunities that make people want to live here, work here, play here, and pray here.
Yes.
It's important that we have that faith base and that connection is here. And speaking of that, on one of our advisory committees, we have faith-based pastors. That's helping us make that conversation, helping us with job opportunities. So it's important that all cultural aspects are part of revitalization.
We've talked about Centennial Plaza a little bit, but we don't want to assume that folks know exactly what we're talking about here. Describe what that is and what that will look like.
So Centennial Plaza will actually be a block. It's on the corner of Market and 3rd and 4th Street, downtown, right across the street from the Canton Regional Chamber. It was a green space for many years. They had some park benches there, and you could just go and just kind of hang out. But now it's going to be this fabulous structure where it's going to be music venues. It's going to be, I think, a small mini museum. There's going to be a walking path. There's going to be a restaurant. Activities happening all year long where families can go. Babies can go. You can take children there. You can walk your dog there. You can go see a show. You can get food. And it's going to be a pretty attraction right in the middle of downtown. And then you walk one block down, they are revitalizing the old Grand Hotel. So that's going to be a fabulous hotel for guests and visitors to stay when there's events going on in Canton, particularly when it's the annual Hall of Fame. And so it'd be great to get not all the attractions, but you will have people between downtown and the Hall of Fame. And we want that to be a path where you can dine, you can lodge, you can do whatever you want between downtown and the Hall of Fame. So I see it happening. I've seen it happen in Cincinnati. So there's good things in place to make that happen.
Boy, are you the right person to be doing that.
Well, it takes a village, okay? It's many people that are making this happen. I'm just fortunate to be able to talk about it from here and, from time to time and work with great strategic partners.
We're talking about downtown revitalization, but more than that, it's really downtown transformation. You're talking about an entirely different downtown vibe and everything going on there. We're visiting with Janelle Lee from Strengthening Stark. We'll be back after these words. You're listening to Our Community. Welcome back to Our Community. Susie Thomas visiting with Janelle Lee from Strengthening Stark. Pretty exciting stuff happening.
Yes, it is. It's exciting time right now for Stark County.
Well, let's break it down a little bit. We've talked. There is a four-legged table.
Yeah, that's right.
And you've got business growth and talent development. I'm thinking that must be people.
That is people and that is jobs.
And that's right. And quality places. Let's break all these down.
Yeah.
Tell me what each of these looks like.
Let me just tell you, when the project started, we had some very bold goals for Strengthening Stark. There were actually 37 initiatives that fell within 7 pillars. And that's kind of how we looked at things, and we interviewed over 300 people. We talked about process. And so that was the initial plan. But since then, Susie, we now have a board in place. We have these advisory committees and task force. And over the past year, we've been able to streamline and revise our initiatives. So we have 3 major pillars that is part of the Strengthening Stark structure. They are business growth, talent development, quality places, and our 4th is more like process community engagement.
Okay.
And so what does that mean? We have 16 initiatives that fall within these 4 pillars. So when you talk about business growth, we're talking about what Ray Hexamer is doing at Stark Economic Development Board.
Yes.
It's about business attraction, making sure we keep the businesses. It's about going in and doing a business retention and expansion visit with a company. Hey, how are you doing business? Is there anything we can do? A lot of businesses really don't know that there's resources available to them at local level, state level, and federal level. So that's what Ray is doing as it relates to the target business outreach. We've created some things like a business 911 platform where businesses can actually go to Stark Business 911, and there's a host of things that will help that business. And so it's like one-stop shopping for that business. And so, again, when you look at business growth, it's all about how to grow the businesses. The second pillar is what we call our talent development. It's all about jobs. We have some strategic partners like Ohio Means Jobs that we've been working very closely with. Do you know right now there's a website that you can go and look at all the available jobs, starkjobs.com. Okay, it will tell you, I think there's about 5,000 jobs available right now.
That's amazing.
It will tell you where the jobs are, who the employers are. You can search it by job title, by wage, by neighborhood. It's a very comprehensive database that will help the job seeker find out available jobs in this county. And so we're constantly working on that.
Hopefully not just people who already live here. Hopefully people who
That's right.
are thinking, well, this would be a terrific place to raise my
Exactly.
family.
And you can go to this website again and look at all the available jobs. Our third pillar, which we're calling quality places or placemaking, is where we've developed a tool that we're excited about. GIS, it's Geographical Information Systems. You can go online and you can actually map out Stark County and see where all those 5,000 jobs are. You can click on a neighborhood and see what employers are actually hiring within that particular neighborhood. You can actually click on a button and see where the SARTA lines are, where those bus lines are taking, and where the major job hubs are. You can actually see, say I'm a job seeker and I'm looking for a job in a certain neighborhood and I want to make sure there's childcare available so I can drop my kid off on my way to work and from work. I can pull that up. So we're revising this. It's a great tool to help make decisions around economic development.
Are you anticipating that we are going to need more public transportation as part of this whole scheme?
Well, what I think we may need to do is the conversations we're having with SARTA, is let's be effective in where that bus goes. Maybe we need to have some routes during second and third shift and switch some things during the morning, or some advanced transportation that working with a company, say Shears or a different company that, and so those are the conversations we're having around SARTA.
As we talk
with transportation, it's very key to economic development.
Yes, and I'm thinking, does this mean we have more Uber and Lyft drivers as well? As more and more people are visiting Canton,
that's right,
to take advantage of all the things happening here.
That's right.
And I'm thinking, we bring people in already for the Hall of Fame. Now we've got things like the Canton Marathon, which is driving all kinds of new people coming in and economic impact. The Canton Film Fest is growing and growing and growing. All these kinds of things are making Canton a destination year-round.
That's right.
And I'm thinking, that's a lot of cars on the street.
That's a lot of cars, and again, different types of transportation services that will meet the needs of the job seeker and the employer. So again, SARTA is a great strategic partner.
Great.
And things are changing there. And then our fourth pillar, which is our process pillar. So that's where the governance structure, decisions around policy and procedure, and of course, community engagement, what I'm doing with you today, out speaking about the project, getting people involved in strengthening Stark, and just promoting what we're doing.
Is the book available different places? Where can people get a copy of this?
Actually, this book was commissioned by the Stark Community Foundation, so you can always stop by the Stark Community Foundation office on Market Avenue and pick up a book. We have books in our office, the Strengthening Stark offices, which is located in the Stark Economic Development Board's office, downtown Stark State Campus, third floor. So you can always pick up a book there. But even that, if you don't want a physical book, it's online on our website at strengtheningstark.com.
Great. Taking a look at where you've been and where you are now, tell me about the progress that's been made.
It's been tremendous progress. It's happening fast, and it's exciting every day in the office. Again, we have advisory committees in place. We have our board in place. We have our subcommittees. We have chairs. We're out in the community, and we're developing tools. We have platforms. We have tools. And that's what it's all about, creating those things. Let me just tell you that those platforms were really already here in Stark County. What Rashu and I have been doing is just creating different creative ways to make those tools available. And of course, with funding, you can make things happen. And so there's a lot of things on the horizon for 2020. With developing 2.0 versions of some of these platforms and tools, getting more people involved, getting the word out. We now are working on marketing strategies, more collateral materials, getting out to you and other radio personnel to talk about what we're doing, getting a new website. All those things are coming in 2020, and so we're just looking forward to that.
I love having an objective person because I'm just way too attached to this place. I love it, love it, love it.
Well, we love that attachment because people like you, Susie, are helping making things move and change here in Stark County.
So what's the verdict when you come in and take a look at where we are? You've done this before in other communities. How are we doing?
I'll give us a B. We're there.
That's pretty good.
I do. Okay. I would give us a B.
What do we need to do to be an A?
What we need to do to be an A is have more platforms, more tools, and people getting jobs that they want, getting better jobs. And that will give us an A. That will make us an A community when all the employers, we're all communicating and we're strategizing on how to get people hired. So that's one of the main things we're working on is an effective process to get the job seeker hired. Was in a meeting this morning with Altman Hospital, working with their HR department. What can we do to help you, Altman Hospital, to get more people employed at Altman. Let us know what your key priorities are, what the process is, and then we can work with some of our strategic partners like the Urban League and Jobs and Family Services, who are all part of that process of getting employees hired.
So what would be the very next step to be able to get there and be able to do what you've just described?
So one of the things we have planned is to do more job fairs. Do more job fairs in the communities. We're doing a pilot right now with several communities, the Altman community. We're doing a pilot in Maslin Alliance in Jackson Township, where we're trying to figure out how to get those community residents hired. We can actually pull up through that GIS system that we talked about what communities have very low or employment rates that are high that can get those community residents employed. We can look at that data. And so now we have that data that shows us there's a lot of people unemployed in this area. So now we can figure out what employers are in that area and how we can work with those employers to get the residents hired, whether it's some type of training through Urban League, or if it's some social work through some of our Jobs and Family Services or social service providers. What is it? We're having those conversations on what do we need to do to get this community, to get everybody an opportunity to work and get the job that they want.
You were talking about working together and playing together and praying together, and I think that's where our audience comes in.
Yes.
You're talking to the faith community here.
Great.
How can we help?
What we would love to do is get a list of all the pastors in the area and start having dialogue with them. We've had some smaller conversations. Again, Pastor Walter Moss sits on.
Awesome.
Yes, he sits on one of our advisory committees, the Minority Advisory Committee. And so when we were doing a job fair last year during Strengthening Stark Week, which will be again this year in October, we're trying to figure out what can we do in these communities to make, in the faith-based community helped us a lot.
Yes, great.
Pastor Moss, as well as some other pastors, were able to take these flyers and make those announcements in their congregations about the job fair. So they can be a vehicle, a voice for the community as it relates to our jobs. And so that's, again, one of our major projects is getting more people employed with better jobs. And I think our faith-based community can help us do that.
Well, as you're talking about that seems to be often starting a new year. Somebody, a lot of people say, okay, I think part of this new 2020 means a different employment for me.
That's right.
Or to take what I've done so far and move on, ready to move up to
That's
something.
Right.
It does seem within a church family that there would be employers right there in the church family that would be willing, ready to help.
Again, we're having conversation about getting a new advisory committee, a faith-based advisory committee as part of Strengthening Stark.
Awesome.
Again, we've talked to a few pastors in the past on smaller projects we've done, but we want to make this part of our platform, part of our landscape, and just to have that advisory as part of our conversation in day-to-day work and economic development.
Where can people go for more information?
They can give our office a call. The Strengthening Stark office at 330-453-9628 is our number. Let me just make sure I got that right. 330-453-5628. Again, our website is www.strengtheningstark.com. So those are two ways. You can always stop by. Our doors are always open at the Strengthening Stark office, third floor of downtown Stark State campus. We're in the third floor there, Suite 301. Come see us. Call us anytime. Would love for people to get involved and be part of this Strengthening Stark movement, as we call it.
Chanel Lee, thank you for all you're doing in our community.
Yes. Thank you for having me on, Susie. I appreciate it.